Hi guys, today we're going to be making our first game. In this game, we're going to be learning about how to use the if block. Now, using all the stuff we've learned, including the if block, once we learn it, we can make this game. This game's called Eat the Apple Giga. This person's name is Giga, and you use your mouse. You use your keyboard to move Giga around. And when it eats, and you try to eat all the apples, and every time, and that's how the game works. And then every time you eat the apple goes to a new place. As you can see, there's no score in this, and we're gonna learn how to add a score to this in the next video using variables. But for right now, this is what our game is going to look like. Okay, so you get the idea. It isn't a complex game. We'll learn more about those in future videos, but this is a good starter game. So I'm gonna close out of this, save this as Eat the Apple Giga, and I'm gonna open up my Scratch editor and let's program this game. So remember, if you watched the previous video, you would know what a condition is. And conditions are really important with ifs because the whole point of an if is based on the condition. So the if basically checks if the condition is true. If the condition is true, then it will do anything that you put in here. If it's not, then it won't do anything. We'll just skip it. For example, if I were to turn 15 degrees, I'm just going to put a wait 1 second and then turn 15 degrees back. And I have the operator as is 0 equal to 0. Now what's going to happen is, since 0 is equal to 0, it's going to turn 15 degrees, wait a second, and turn back 15 degrees. Because it does everything, because that's true. Now if I change this to something that's not true, it's going to totally skip the if and just do this. So it turns 15 degrees. That's basically what an if is. And using the concept of if, we're going to make this game. In this game, all that's going to happen is whenever we are going to use ifs to sense if a key is pressed, and every time a key, for example, the left arrow is pressed, it's going to point in the direction of left, and then it's going to move 10 steps. Like that, we're going to program it for every single key, making Giga move. And then we're also going to have the apple, and we're going to tell it to disappear if it's touching Giga. So let's delete the cat sprite, and this is what we're going to do in most of the games that we make, because the cat sprite isn't that useful, and most of the sprites in the Scratch library aren't very useful as well. Okay, in this project though, we are going to use stuff from the Scratch library. In future projects, we're probably going to find images from the internet, or we're going to create them ourselves. So let's use the one Giga walking so we can make a walking animation. Click OK, and Giga walking should come up. So go to the costume tabs. As you can see, there's 4 different costumes, and it makes it look like Giga is walking. So let's make a quick animation just to test out if the walking works. Before we do that, let's just shrink Giga. Yeah, that should be good. Let's do when green flag clicked, And we're going to drag out our forever and just put in next costume. Actually, let's grow this so we can see the walk cycle. So what the next costume just does is it just goes through every single costume, and this is meant to look like Giga is walking. So let's try it out. Well, that's way too fast. That doesn't look anything like Giga walking. That looks like Giga walking at the speed of light. So let's slow it down a little by dropping in a wait for about 0.1 seconds. Well, that seems really detached. So let's change this to 0.01 seconds. Now that looks a little weird, and it still will be. So it might take a while for you to find something that you think looks good. But the truth is that we're gonna have this giga pretty small, so you can't see it that well. So right now, this looks just fine to me. So I'm gonna just put him right there, and we're gonna have another script. And we're gonna end up deleting this script because we don't want Giga to be moving every single second of the game, looking like it's walking every single second of the game. We only want it to be looking like it's walking when one of the arrows are pressed. So let's drag out another one green flag clicked, and we're going to get rid of this, but we can just have that there right now, and drop in our forever. And we're going to have our first if. And if you go into sensing, there is a condition called key space pressed. You can go into the drop down and change that to left. So when the left arrow is pressed, we want to point in the direction of left and move 10 steps. Okay, so let's try it out. Left, and it moves 10 steps, except what happened? Giga flipped around. And I don't know if I've mentioned this, I'm pretty sure I have, but when this happens, you usually have to set the rotation style to left-right. And that doesn't really make sense right now. But as you go around with more projects, you'll understand the difference between all around, left-right, and don't rotate. Don't rotate basically means it's not going to rotate the thing at all, but left-right means it rotates either left or right, and all around just makes it rotate any way possible. So now, if I do left, it just goes to left. Cool. That looks a little fast, though. I'm going to change it to 5, just so Giga doesn't become Usain Bolt. Okay, that looks good, and I'm going to duplicate this if. And I'm going to zoom out a little and throw that nearby. And now I duplicated it, so I have 2 of them, but I'm going to change this to right. And basically, I'm just going to make all the changes that I would need to make it right. So I'm going to change this to key right pressed. I'm going to change this to 90 or right. And now, if I have this, now it goes right and left. That's pretty cool. Now we need to get the up working. And to get the up working, the best way to do it is to use the change y by 10 block. So let's get another if and put in the key up arrow pressed and then drop this in here. So now I can also go up. But when it goes up, we don't want it to be walking, right? Because, well, I guess you could have it walking, but it looks a little weird to me. So I'm just going to duplicate this really quick and make it a down arrow. And the opposite of going up is going down. And all we have to do is get the opposite of 10, which is negative 10. Now we got this cool giga that moves around. And let's change these 10s to 5s. So to me, I don't like it when Giga has his walk cycle going when he's going up or down. That's why we're not going to want this in a forever. And it's kind of weird if Giga has his walk cycle on, but he's just staying still. So we're just going to put this in the left arrow pressed area, and we're going to put it in the right arrow pressed. If you want, you can put it in the up arrow and down arrow pressed as well, but I don't like it there as much. So now it's going to switch costumes when the left arrow is pressed, when the right arrow is pressed, but not when the up or down arrow is pressed. I just made some adjustments so it looks better because it was really detached. So I changed the weight to 0.01 seconds. And now we've got a pretty cool giga that can walk around. So now we gotta get the apple in. And before we do that, we're gonna get our background set. And to get our background set, we're gonna choose one from the library, and the one that I chose, and you don't have to choose this one, is Rays. And all I did is I converted it to bitmap, and I do not like bitmap at all. But I just converted it to bitmap so I can fill the background with this yellowish color. And then I converted it back to vector. The thing with converting to bitmap and vector is once you convert to bitmap, vector kind of gets useless. But I just did anyway. And I'm going to use this text thingy and type in the words, get the apple, giga. And then all I have to do is I can change the color of it to, I don't know, like a red. Yeah, that looks good. And then I'm going to make it a little bigger. Put it right there. So now we got the background ready as well. Now all we need to do is finish the apple and we are done. I'm going to click New Sprite, get the apple out. And all the apple's going to do is whenever Giga touches it, it's going to make the crunch sound, and then it's going to hide, and then like half a second later, it's going to appear in a different place. That's actually pretty easy to do, and we should be done with it pretty soon. So let's get the one green flag clicked out, and also put out our forever. Now, forever, we're going to always want to be checking if it's touching Giga. So go to sensing and pull out the Giga walking, touching Giga walking. So if it's touching Giga walking, and to disappear and to show, you have to use two blocks from the looks category called hide and show. So hide hides it, and then show shows it. So we're going to want to show it in the beginning. So that way, if it's hidden at the end, when you start the game again, it's showing. We're going to show it in the beginning and hide it when it's touching Giga. And then we're going to wait for half a second-ish. And then we're going to go to a random spot. And to do that, we have to get out this thing. But wait, that says go to mouse pointer. Well, if you go into the drop down, you can go to random position. Now, every time I touch it, it hides and goes to random position. But where did it go? The thing is that since it was hidden, it's still hidden. We have to click the green flag again to make it show. So we're going to have to put another show block right here. So it shows again. Now let's try it. There it is. So we have most of the game done, and there's only one more thing we want to do, is we want to have the crunch sound effect. So go to sounds and get a new sound called chomp. And you can test out what the sounds sound like by clicking. So all we're going to do is if you go into the sound menu, you can do play sound chomp until done, and there's play sound chomp. So what's the difference between the two? The difference is that play sound chomp will start playing the sound chomp and then execute the blocks after it. The play sound chomp until done will start the sound chomp and then wait until it's done, and then it's going to do the rest of the program. In this case, we're going to have the play sound chomp until done. That way, we can still have it when Giga eats it. Well, if you think about it, that kind of looks weird, right? So, we're going to maybe change it to play sound chomp. Now, everything else gets executed right when Giga touches the apple. Okay, so that's basically it to the game, and there's one more thing you could do if you wanted. If you wanted, and this goes to any game we create in this course. I just want to show you this now so I don't have to show you this every time at the end of a game. Is if you want to have a background sound, all you have to do is get a new sound, and you can record a sound right here, or you could import a recording from your computer. So I'm going to have, if you go into music loops, there's a bunch of different background musics. I'm going to use this one. Click OK. And basically, if you want to have a background sound in your game, you have to go to the stage and you just make this small bit of code. And I'll explain what this is. So what's happening is when the green flag is clicked, it's just going to keep playing the sound garden. So let's try using this one instead. Let's see what happens. Well, can you hear the sound garden? Can't. And that's because what happens with this type of sound is that it lets the next thing execute. So what's happening is a bunch of play sound gardens keep getting executed, which doesn't make any sense because none of them even got started. So if we use this, we have the background. So that's it to the game. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.